I'm doing pretty good. How about you? Ooh, sounds like a lot. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, well, if your microphone's not being picked up, that's something. But yeah. So I cannot stay up until 4 o'clock, and the most I usually stay up is till like maybe midnight, 1 o'clock. Well, I can hear your mic. I don't know why it's not picking it up, but oh, whatever
Okay,
this
hold up.
is.
Now it is. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yay! Welcome
so
back.
oh yeah, so the whole intro didn't stick. So hey everyone, welcome to coming. Sorry for the bout of silence beforehand. I unplugged my microphone not too long ago, and it like my Discord updated. Streamlabs apparently didn't update, and I didn't look to see it flashing or moving. So I appreciate you, Mom Burkhardt, for pointing that out. So love you as always.
Thank you.
But no, I was explaining that I was up till 4 o'clock last night because I have both the tabletop game I play and the LARP version I play every other, like the second and fourth week of every week. And both of those games go till about 2 a.m. each day. So it's kind of rough. So Austin, you were saying that you can't stay up late anymore because you have too many responsibilities. So sad.
So sad. Yeah, just too many responsibilities going on with that. So that's why I can't stay up past 2 o'clock. So I can't even stay up past, what was it, like, even like most of the time, like 1 o'clock. Like I struggle. Like after I hit that 11 o'clock midnight, I'm like,
Yeah. Well, to me, I'm like 11 o'clock for me is the I should go to bed now. 12 o'clock is okay. I'm going to be really tired tomorrow because I have to wake up at 6 in the morning. But if I have nothing I have to do the next day, I can stay up till about 4 o'clock easily, no issue. I've always had that power.
when in Rome.
When in Rome, you just stay awake as long as you can, so that way you hopefully can do whatever you want and not think about the life of the world. But that's what you do. Austin, how was your weekend, man? Or how was your couple weeks? Because we haven't got to do our podcast for a while because we had plans to do it, and then they kind of fell through just because of like different things happening through the holidays.
Yeah.
And then January came, and then we had like different things planned. Last week we didn't do it because it was my birthday weekend, and y'all wanted me to come back, so you ended up coming get me because my car can't drive in the snow. And we've just been inconsistent through December through January, which I think is kind of on par with every year because that's whenever all that stuff happens.
Well, that and two, plus I got sick during, that one of the weeks. Like I got really badly sick. I call it the plague just because I did get influenza A, filthy me. But overall, like, I was like, man, I forgot, like, here in like at last like 2 hours, I was like, what did we watch? I don't remember. And then I was like, oh wait, it's Dana didn't.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, I understand.
You're like, oh crap! What would you have done if I would have like put on like Castlevania Nocturne, and like you would see him be like, wait, what up?
I'd be like, well, crap, fans, I did not watch that. I am sorry. But yeah, so this weekend was pretty cool. We took our foster child to the Newport Aquarium in Kentucky. So
wow!
Yesterday we drove 3 hours down, 3 hours back, and we went to get to see some sharks. And they have like why everyone loves that aquarium. Supposedly it's like one of the best aquariums around, next to Disney World. So
Oh, I
they
guess
have like
Disney World did have a aquarium, didn't they?
yeah, funny Mimo,
Oh.
remember?
Oh.
Yeah, so like there was like a shark tunnel that we walked through. We got to pet a stingray. I was trying to punch the stingray, you know.
Yeah,
Steve,
man. Yeah, you know,
yeah,
we gotta make sure
Steve
they know
Irwin,
they're
we
never
got-
safe. You know
Yeah, they're never safe.
what they did to our boy. The world will
Yeah.
never forget.
Yep, the world will never forget. But no, so yeah, we got to do that. That was a lot of fun. Got to eat at a German restaurant. That was a lot of fun. You know how I am with, you know, different country foods. So I love that. So it was a lot of fun. I sat, was it Friday night? I sat down and we watched Sonic 3, and he was so excited to see Sonic 3. It was so great. You know, we're having such a blast with him and stuff like that, getting toys, getting him clothes and stuff. So he's a lot of fun. Like you got to meet him finally, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's just really anxious, young, crazy, full of energy boy. But yeah, we've been having a lot of fun. Went to the aquarium. You know, we did Christmas, all that stuff. So you know, it's been just super busy with everything that's been going on. You know, me being sick and all that. It's just, man, I have just been watching movies and you know, just chillaxing most of the time, playing Balatro all the time. I play Balatro almost. You know, I'll put like something on and then I'll watch something and then I'll just like play Balatro. That's just what I've been doing. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, how's your couple weeks? You know, ever?
I explained a little bit, just
Mhm.
doing what I want to do. I was happy to have a week with normalcy, you know, where I could actually just, I knew exactly what I had planned for the weekend, and I
Normalcy.
did exactly what I did. Like, it was nice. With the snow, with the temperature rising and the snow melting, I was able to drive yesterday, which was fantastic. It felt so
Oh,
good to be
yeah.
on the road on my own car.
Oh yeah.
Got to drive, do that, all that good stuff. But yeah, Austin, all I've been doing for the past week, right? Whenever I get off of work, I come home, I play some Red Dead Redemption 2, continuing that story. I'm a fan of that game so much, and the issue that I was having whenever I first played the game was that I felt like it was so, I had to like invest so much, and I don't know what happened. It just suddenly went away. I'm like, no, I can take this one mission at a time and just enjoy the atmosphere of the game is what I think I enjoy the most about it, is the atmosphere. Just walking around as Arthur, just like running up to random people and be like, excuse me, stranger, and just like, what can I do for you? Just like, I need you to find my tiger that escaped. I'm like, what the frick you have a tiger for? Like,
Oh,
and then
that's
all
like
the
one of my
hijinks
favorite-
happens.
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite missions in that game, next to the Civil War vet guy.
I have not gotten to the Civil War vet guy, I think.
He's a side mission though, so like
Yeah, I think I know. Like, I think I saw him in Valentine once. Like, he
Yeah.
was just sitting off to the side.
you'll keep seeing him and then just interact with him every single time.
Mhm.
And what Arthur does to him is just hilarious.
Mhm.
Like Arthur like crushes him one time and you're just like, ow, but then you're like, wait, this guy had it coming to him. And there's
Yeah.
also another side mission that I really like about a little boy, a man child. That one's really, really fun. It's hilarious.
My issue that I've been having the last couple times I've played is that
Mm-hmm.
like I'll run into a like world event thing and just get obliterated, and then I'll just like respawn after being dead, and I'm just like, do I just suck? Like, is that what's happening? Like, the only way I win is if I get the jump on people. Because there was like a time I was like riding on my horse and a guy's like, hey mister, wait real quick, this is a stack up, and then a bunch of people came out of the ridge, and I'm just like, what the freak? And so I started shooting, and I got destroyed. And then the other time was I walked up on this camp, like I saw these people camping. I rode up on the horse, and they're just like, you don't want nothing, mister. I'm like, okay. And I turn around and start walking because I'm like, they didn't cause me no harm. And they're like, we're not done with you. I'm like,
Wait,
and they
what's
shot
going
me in the
on?
back, and I was like, what the freak? Like,
What did I do?
but the game is so entertaining. I love like the atmosphere, and I'm really enjoying like the gang's like loyalty to each other. It's kind of like a nice little thing. So yeah, no, what I do is I come home from work, I play that for a while, put on something off to the side, watch it, and then once like 8 o'clock hits, my friend John and Whitney get on, and then we play Enshrouded for the rest of the night. And that has been the highlight of my week so far. Just been doing that a lot. So that is how my weeks have been, Austin. But we need to talk about something a little more. You know, talking about Red Dead Redemption, there's a couple things in there, some supernatural things, some spooky things, and some aliens. Austin, this week we watched Dan to Dan, season 1, a show that I made you watch. This was a show that was super, super popular. A lot of people started talking about it from the first episode because there's the thing about like animes where they will put out like the first episode of a show and there's some like super crazy or controversial thing that happens in the first episode and then it mellows out afterwards and then you don't deal with that again. One thing that comes to my mind is Goblin Slayer. Like the first episode of Goblin Slayer, people like it broke the internet. People were not prepared for it because they didn't think that was going to ever be a show. And then this episode kind of had similar vibes, but much more like toned down. It was just like crazy. And so I had to watch it. We got it, and I'm like, all right, watched it, finished it, and I was like, whoa. I enjoyed this show so much more than I thought I would. I have to force Austin to watch it. And so I did. I forced you to watch it. So Austin, what'd you think of Dan to Dan? This is season 1.
Yeah.
There's going to be more.
Yeah, they confirmed.
Already season 2's in the work. It's coming out sometime this year. I forget, like something July, I think.
So this actually brought a lot of different feelings to me. Like when I watched the show, it reminded me of like I love things that are just weird, out there, and crazy.
Yeah,
you know, it's just one of those things I really love. Mm-hmm. And when you put things out there like a show about like supernatural stuff, and then it's not what you expect it to be, because like when I heard about like the ghosts, I could be like, oh, okay, whatever. Ghosts can be pretty much anything. And then you're like, oh, aliens, okay. So you're thinking like these weird creatures from like, like these, like kind of sort of like alien things that you have in your head. Yeah. But then like the aliens show up and you're like, I'm kind of like, like conflicted because
yeah,
I really enjoy the aspect of the show. The show is ridiculous. I love how ridiculous it is. But I thought the episode 1 kind of like tones a certain tone, and then it changes throughout the rest of the series. Yep. And it's kind of like it's really well done story. Like the problem that you usually have with like crazy anime that starts off like that, it dies down to a point where what you liked about it before, it's not what you like about it after the fact. But then this show like evolves into something that makes it like, hey, this is crazy, but there's still all this stuff because you're getting used to the craziness, that we still have a overarching storyline that's like still great. Like it's a supporting, like, because what I really like about the show is just how random things happen, and then it's just like explained, and I'm okay with it. The
show does do a great job of like explaining something, and you're just like, that doesn't actually answer the question, but. No. You said it in such a way that I guess you're just okay, yeah.
I'm just gonna go with it. But so I really like this show. Like the first part that got me, like it got me hooked. I didn't know anything about the show going in, anything like that. I was told by like my buddy Travis and like you that it was great. You enjoyed it. You were telling me, hey, you got to put the new episode up. It just came out. Put the new episode. It just came out. So I was like, okay, I'll get this rolling. But then I was like, man, it must, if Travis is telling me that it's weird and he likes it, that's saying something, because I love The Lighthouse. It's one of my favorite like Robert Eggers film. He does not like The Lighthouse. He was like, it was cool for me to watch, but I was not into that movie. And I was like, really? And then I was like, then why does he like Dan to Dan? So after you told me to watch it, I started watching it. I was like, wow. It reminded me, like the feelings I got from it is, one, there's an episode that's so heartbreaking. Like it's just, man, it had me crying. And then one episode, I'm just like, what the heck is going on? Like I stopped like mid-episode and I was like, what am I watching? And then, there was like, another feeling of nostalgia, because one of the first animes I ever watched was called Elephant Lad, and it is just crazy. Like it's just mentally weird, and I loved it because it's that weirdness. And when I watched the show, I was like, it kind of reminded me of sitting down with one of my best friends and watching Elephant Lad for the first time. And it just made me laugh. There was a lot of funny things that happened in this story. And sometimes, you get those anime tropes and you're just like, oh, here it comes. And I roll my eyes. But then I'm surprised because why I like a show like this is because it's so crazy. You don't know what's going to happen, that it kind of reminds me of like JoJo in a way where one minute it's making sense and the next minute it's like not making sense.
Yeah, you're like, what?
But then it brings it back down to reality, and it's like, wait a minute, this is actually what's going on. This is what was going on. Because there's like the episode where they're in the school.
Yeah.
And then it turns into like, water and stuff, and then they have to fight like those that punching.
No, it was a shrimp. It was a
it was a shrimp. That's right.
Boxer shrimp or whatever they're called. I forget what they're called.
I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed the show. I like it a lot. I'm excited for season 2. But yeah, like that's what I thought of it so far. I really thoroughly enjoyed the show. I was so happy. I was sad when it ended. I was like, no, I want more episodes. Like, it's just one of those shows. And I think this is a show that I'll watch on repeat. Like it will be a show where I just randomly just put it on. I'm like, yeah, okay.
I've already rewatched it like twice since like even just telling you to watch it, if I'm being honest. Because we had multiple. Because the issue that I have with the show is that I was talking with my friend Josh about it, because me and him talked about it whenever I was at the Nintendo Olympics with him. There's an issue that I have with some anime. If the anime is really good and I'm enjoying it and it's an easy watch, I will binge through like 4 to 5 plus episodes without realizing that I binge that many episodes. Like I just like they all meld together very well. Some anime they can't do that, right? Like some people think like One Piece can do that. I don't think One Piece does that for me because of all the cuts that they do for like commercials and all that stuff. The last anime that did this to me before Dan Dan was My Hero Academia, and at that point there was like 3 seasons out already for the show, and I ended up watching the first season of My Hero Academia nonstop. I just was like, I'll watch the first episode. It's back whenever I had Verve and Funimations before Funimations got broken up and then bought by Crunchyroll or whatever happened. I don't understand everything that happened with Funimations. But I watched the first episode, and then the second episode, then the third, then the fourth, and the sixth. Like I binged it so hardcore, and I didn't realize that I watched a whole season of it in a night until I looked and saw it was 6 a.m. in the morning, and I was like, I was just trying to find something to put on to go to bed to, and I got so entranced that I couldn't stop watching. The only reason why I didn't do that with this show, right?
Yeah.
Is because it was broken up like episodic every week. And that made it so much more of a pain to me to watch it, because I was just wanting the next episode so much every week. Like that, I remember there was a point where like the one episode came out and it wasn't like working, like it wasn't loading or anything like that, and I was having a miniature panic attack. I'm like, it's out, I can watch it, but it's not working. What's happening? And it was just so funny to me that I'm like, why am I getting all worked up over this? Because I just really enjoyed the show. I enjoyed like the characters that were introduced. I enjoyed their dynamic. And I'm like, yeah, whenever I find a show like that, I am going to force you to watch it, regardless of if I think you even like the subject matter to begin with.
Yeah.
Right? I know after I watched the first episode, I was part of that TikTok trend of just posting Turbo Granny everywhere with the suck your tits, you let me gobble your dong thing. I was one of those people. I sent that like 10 times to everyone on my friends list, unannounced. Like I would send like 3 real TikToks and then a Turbo Granny, 3 real TikToks, and like it was. I liked it a little too much. But Austin, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you like it or whatnot. What what episode do you want to like talk about, or like is there anything specifically that stand out that you want to like dive into more or discuss like characters and everything? Because the show ended in a weird, not, they like, people try to say it's like a cliffhanger. It felt more like the middle of a arc.
Yeah.
And so we all know what's going to happen at the beginning of next season.
Yeah.
But what do you want to talk about here, man?
Well, the thing is like what I will say is this show did one thing that like I you know, it's hard for me to like feel very emotional, and when it's well done, felt emotionally where I'm like bawling because I like the aspect of to it. It means that like I was drawn into the story enough that it made me feel emotion for those characters.
Yep.
And that episode was the episode of the Silk. Was it like the girl with the hair?
The Silky. I said Silky, but yeah. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just the thing is I'm like I was baffled because that episode, I did not care one bit for the girl that like, you know, thought that she was like protecting him because he was being
she was like an angelical, like I have been blessed as a holy person.
Yeah, I thought it was stupid. I hated her 100%, did not like her one bit.
They build her up very well to be like disliked, which I found funny. Like you're watching it and she's like, I do bad, I am super nice to boys because, you know, like I made their life better by just, you know, talking to them, and I don't care for the loser, but I made their life better because that's who I am. I'm a good person. And it's like, oh no, you're one of them people. I hate you.
Yeah, I did not like her one bit. I hated
Fair enough, yeah.
her when she was on the screen, period. Like I just did not like her as a character at all. And the thing was like, wasn't anything that like I haven't seen before in anime. It was just, she's one of those annoying characters, and I just didn't like her. But I will say, at the end of the episode, what made that episode the greatest was actually finding out about the Silk.
Yeah.
And like knowing that like this woman. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever watched it. So okay, I'll tell a little side story, guys. There is a commercial that's out there, and it is for I think like a life insurance company. And it's a Japanese commercial. And I saw it on a show, a YouTube show that used to be around called React. And it was this, it was very emotional to a point when I watched it for the first time. I was like, whoa, and I'm bawling my eyes out. And so then the story where I'm bringing it to here is, this is funny. For college, my friend that's a professor at the college that I was going to, he's the English professor. He's like, hey, I want you guys to pick a commercial, and then I want you to write about it. Like, tell me why you like it. What does it do for you? So I picked that commercial, and I was just going to write about it, and then I was going to send him the link. Well, in the middle of class, virtually, because this is like 2020, and he was like, hey, would anybody like to share their commercials, and we can watch it live over the classroom? So I was like, bro, don't do it. You're going to make people cry. It's going to be awful. So I did it. And at the end of that episode, I just hear everyone unmute at one time. And they're like, why? Why did you make us watch that? And I was like, why? And they're like, I'm crying my eyes out. And I was like, right? It's a really good commercial. And the commercial's name is called Daddy Lies. And it's a story. It's exact story, kind of like with this. And it reminded me of Daddy Lies, which is a story about a man, a Japanese man, or I don't know, maybe Japanese, Korean, I don't know.
Okay.
Person that is, his son is like talking about his dad and how he's like invincible and like he loves his dad, and then like he starts and you're like smiling about it, you're like, oh, he's being a good dad, and then like he says, my daddy lies, and you're like, whoa, okay. And he's like, my daddy lies because when he says he's not hungry, and then you find out that like,
oh yeah,
like his dad is like providing for him and he doesn't want him to go starving, so he lets him eat, and then he's like working double jobs and all this other stuff. and like it's just emotional. So when I saw this episode where this woman is trying to better her daughter and like make sure she has the opportunities that she never had, and I was like, man, this is so good. But the only other thing that like happened was like, I think she owed money to someone.
I think that either, I don't think she owed money. I think what happened was her husband owed the money, and they came to her even though they weren't together no more to take the daughter, because the daughter was like technically her husband's as well. I could be wrong on that, because I'll be honest, Austin, that is one of the episodes I tend to like disassociate to, because I agree it's a super sad episode, and if I watch it with intent I end up bawling my eyes out, and it's rough. And as I always explain to people whenever they like, I talk to them about Dan to Dan and they say it, I'm like, the part that gets me is the first person perspective when she's running down the stairs to like after them. That hurts because you can hear the panic, the frustration, the anger in her voice. Oh, wasn't prepared. And you know why I also found so frustrating when I watched Dan to Dan and I watched the episode for the first time, right? I don't remember asking for that. Like, there was no point where the Selkie's like, let me tell you my story, and then it kicks off. It just begins with that. And so you're like, yeah, Dan to Dan, and then it just begins, you're just like, what the freak, Dan to Dan? Like, it's rough.
Like, heartstrings here. Yeah, it was so well done. It was so well done. It was executed properly. It made me have that emotion. It made me feel for it. I cried. I bawled. I was like, save her life, man. Just save her life. I hate that character. I'm like, save her.
Makes you wonder, like, what the heck happened to the daughter as well. Like, you're assumed at the end of there she's like sold off, or she doesn't make it, or stuff like that. Like, and it's like, that's just rough. Like, it doesn't feel fair. It's not right. It's all this, like, it just leaves you like feeling horrible. And then even like the end of the episode, even though they end it in like a nicer tone by having the one girl, the pink hair girl, I can't remember her name right now, going up and thanking her for being the best mom, and then it's like, oh, she like fades away, and Turbo Granny is like, yeah, ghosts like that who die and have horrible like lives, essentially, they don't get to go to an afterlife because they were affected so much that their soul's essentially tainted. And then by her running up and doing that, the what you're supposed to kind of draw a conclusion is like, she gets to have a nice afterlife because she did that for her. And it's like, oh, I can't handle this, man.
I don't want it anymore.
No, it's just, and that's the thing about like Dan to Dan, right? Like, up to that point, most of the things that they fought, like, they fought Turbo Granny, which you learn like Turbo Granny's background and how she like defends SA victims and like the women who got killed in that the tunnel and everything, and like fights the humans and others that are like hostile and whatnot. So like she has a sad background as well, but you don't see it like played out like that. And like all of the aliens are not like likable. There's none so far except for the little lobster dude, where he starts giving the sad sap story about his son.
Episode that I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
Because the issue with that is that like up to that point all the aliens were like,
they're dicks.
Yeah, they're jerks trying to like impregnate someone for their genes. And then he's like, I'm just trying to save my son who can't produce his own blood, blah blah blah. Surprise, milk is his own blood. That's why aliens abduct cows, because cows' milk is their blood, so they use them as transfusions. I was like, what the freak?
The question I had, the problem is like, the question I really had was, I was like, is it just cow's milk? Like, can it be any type of milk?
That's the question. Maybe like he'll come back and be like, cow's milk wasn't the correct blood type. We need something else. It's like, oh, maybe it's goat's milk.
Well, I thought maybe like,
almond milk.
Yeah, what if we blew their mind and like almond milk? They're like, we can make this. We can make our own blood. I'm like,
We can mass produce our own blood.
yeah, totally. You can make your own blood.
Yeah, no, that was another episode. Like it made me feel like it didn't make me feel as like sad as the silky one, but it did make me feel like, yeah, I like this guy now. Like, and then the fact that he leaves and he's like, hey, if you ever need help, let me know. I'm like, he's gonna come back, baby. Punchy Shrimp Man's coming back.
My favorite weird episode that I loved. I thought it was goofy and out of control, and it was totally unhinged, and I loved every episode, every minute of it. It was the episode where the I'm trying to think of the right word of it. Like the human anatomy body guy.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
he's
the,
like-
the model of the human body.
Yeah, like he was running. I just died when like he got to the. I was laughing the whole time, and when he got to the dump, and he like he's like, "I love you," and like there's no lips like moving.
Yeah, she's
Like,
not moving,
she's
but she
not
starts
moving.
talking, and you're like, the freak.
I
'Cause-
was like, "What is going on?"
You know what it
Why
reminded
am
me
I
of?
loving this?
It reminded me of like a Futurama episode where like Bender falls in love with like the super big robot who is not like as upgraded as him. And so like
yeah.
he can show like emotion and flex, but she's just like, I love him, daddy. Like that's kind of what my thought process was. Like I still don't even understand what they were. I'm like, are they souls trapped in them? Are they just animated things? Like that's one of those situations in the show where I'm like, it's so weird, but everyone's treating it so normal that I'm kind of like, all right, cool, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm all fine.
I'm very uncomfortable with a character in the show. There is a character in the show that I'm very uncomfortable
just one
with.
character.
Yeah, because
Multiple characters make me uncomfortable.
Well, oh man. Okay.
All the aliens make
I don't
me
want to oust
uncomfortable,
myself here online, but I'm gonna oust myself. So, I have a thing for a certain type of ladies.
Oh, okay, you're talking about the grandma?
Some type of women. Yeah. See, how did he know? He knows.
Because
I
you're
don't
not
know why.
Austin. You're not special. That's nothing new, man. Like the second that the grandma appeared, people was like, "That's no grandma. That's a hot 20-some-year-old." Like, that's like the joke of it. Even like what's her name? The one pink hair girl says to her too. It's like, you can't be her grandma. You're way too young and hot. Like, that's the joke of her. And then the fact that she's a cool, calm collector. You know who I kind of like? You know whose vibe she gives me? Auron from Final Fantasy X. Like the super calm person, talks, explains away why you're an idiot for doing what you're doing, and then at the same time, kind of sitting there like messing with the protagonist to a degree. See, the one who makes me uncomfortable the most, Austin, is the aliens, specifically the ones who keep pulling out different junk each time. One time it's a hose, the next time it's scissors.
And one time it's like this antenna, like a TV antenna.
Yeah, like I'm like, it's not. I can't handle that, man.
Can't
It's
handle
rough.
it, man.
That's rough for Reno.
Rough for Reno.
And like, I'll say another character I don't like, but I have heard that they changed, is the ex-boyfriend.
Oh yeah, I
Emojin?
don't like him either.
Well, like,
I just feel like
he's supposed to be played as like, I'm a cool guy and people like me because I'm like funny and aromatic, but whenever I watch him, I'm like, he's just kind of annoying, like, more than anything. But I also completely understand like Okuru's perspective with him, where he's like, he's so cool, he's so confident, he's so himself that everyone laughs and giggles at him, and he's popular because of it, and I'm not, and I hate this guy for it. But apparently, like, a lot of people in the fandom don't like him, but they say there's a point in the show where something flips on him, or like something gets explained on him, and then everyone just instantly like, no, he's cool. He's cool. We're cool with him. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to look it up. I'm just going to wait for the show to come out and then figure it out as that comes out. So that's apparently a thing. So I'm keeping my hatred on the low, on the down low, and just grinding it out.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I just feel like he's an annoying character, and he's meant to be an annoying character. But
Yeah.
that's also how I feel about like a certain character I did not like in Steven Universe until there was like a point where I started.
You
liking
better
that
not
person.
say who I think you're going to say. Who you saying?
Who do you think it is?
Peridot?
No.
Okay,
actually, it
cool,
wasn't.
good.
It was
We were
actually
about to have fighting
someone that I considered annoying. A lot of people loved. They were
Lars?
like, how? Yeah, I hated Lars. I hated Lars so much.
You hate my boy Lars?
I did not like Lars until he got the power of like when he was on the spaceship.
Yeah, when he got
I started
he got killed,
realizing. Yeah, when he got like killed and stuff, then I was like, oh, okay, I feel bad.
The
for
thing
like,
is that that's when you're supposed to start liking Lars. Like,
Yeah.
up to that point, the issue
I'm
that
annoyed.
people
I'm
had,
annoyed.
yeah, well, the issue that people had up to that point was that Lars was kind of a
A-hole?
by all definition abuser to Sadie's, right?
Yeah, he was.
He only used Sadie's to like get with people. He ditched her at all situations if he could hang out with the cooler kids. He down talked her. He also like played with her emotions to get things he wanted, like her to watch the store and then he would run out. Like he manipulated her hardcore. And it wasn't until that he got put out into space and then had to like fight for something that was larger than himself and then effectively die for it that he started like finally growing and got out of this thing of like, I want to be part of the cool kids, and then it's like there's more important than this and I need to rise up. So you're not wrong for your thought process on him. If you still hate him after he transformed, then we would have issues.
Yeah.
You're good. There's a reason why I put this sticker on and not a sticker of him whenever he was pre-transformation. Just say it. Just say it, you know?
I was not a fan of him one bit when it came down to that, because I don't know. I wasn't a fan of him, and that's the thing. Maybe that's what I'm hoping that's going to happen with this guy.
That's what I'm kind of
Man.
thinking that's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's going to like find out something about like there's two thought processes for me for what's probably going to happen. Either one, he's going to do something, sacrifice something, or be something that you're going to be like, bro stepped up, bro did the correct thing, right?
Mhm.
Or two, you're going to learn that he had like a really bad, troubling background, and his like demeanor is like a defense mechanism. So like, I'm like, it's one or the other. I don't know which one it is, but I'll wait for it. It's kind of like the same thing with Dungeon Meshi, which you haven't watched yet. It's one of the shows that I've intended for you to watch months ago, but other things that we watched just kept coming out, and we kept pushing off, and then Halloween came and we kept pushing off. I'm going to make you watch it at some point, because that's another show that this came out that I was like, it was for me, like the animes of this year was like Dungeon Meshi was huge, then Dan to Dan was huge, and then we're off to the next part. And I really want you to watch Dungeon Meshi because you have certain things in your background and knowledge of things you like that I think you would appreciate Dungeon Meshi for that reason.
Mhm.
So that's besides the point. The last thing I want to say is Momo. At first, I didn't like Momo. I felt that she was kind of like a jerk and mean to Ken, because she forces him to change his name. She kind of down talks him and everything, and then you slowly just like start realizing that she's not actually that bad. She's just kind of like, I think she is awkward. Like
I'm kind of confused with her in a way.
Yeah, what's up?
There's like something that like I don't know if they explained it or something like that.
maybe
But like I know that she was in love with how he was like awkward or something like that, like this other
No.
guy.
So
this
Do you
quiet
know who?
guy, and then
Yeah.
she says his name, and then she's like,
Yeah.
like
So
him.
you
So
okay?
I
That's
kinda got
explained in the first
confused.
couple episodes in length, and I explained this to Mom actually whenever I was back for my birthday, because me and her watched a couple episodes of this. The thing is that she's a big fan of a movie star named Ken Takakura,
Oh, okay.
and she watches all of his movies religiously. He has certain lines that are triggering for her that she just falls in love with, and one of those is "I'm just an awkward guy," or "I'm sorry," blah blah. Like he says certain things, and like think of it like the Casablanca level of like thing. It's just like, you're gonna get on that plane, kid, and you're gonna go there.
Yeah.
You're going like, it's like that level of stuff to her, and she's just super attracted to him, right? And his name's Ken Takakura. Well, when she meets him and they start talking, and she asks, "Oh, by the way, what's your name? Like, I don't think I actually got your full name." He's like, "It's Ken Takakura." And that explosion happens in the background, symbolizing like an explosion, like her kind of like having feelings or something else, you know. And then she freaks out because she's like, "No, you are not Ken Takakura. You do not get to use that name, because all I want in life is to find my Ken Takakura," right? She has said that multiple times. "I want to find someone like Ken Takakura." And so when she finally meets this boy who is literally named Ken Takakura, and has like kind of like constantly says the same thing that he likes, like she likes, like the "I'm just an awkward guy" and things like that, she effectively bans Ken. They're like, "You're not Ken, you're Okaru now, and you can't say anything that Ken would ever say." And that's why he changed his name. Like, that's why he goes by the different name now, because she is so in love with him that even the name, or knowing that someone with that name has that name, she falls in love with. Through the process of the show, you kind of get the feeling that she's actually starting to fall in love with Okarun as well, and Okarun starts falling in love with her as well. And it becomes like a love triangle, and then now that the other guy's in, it's like a love super triangle. It's weird. I don't know what to call it once there's a fourth person. A love square, I guess. So like, it's that's basically the whole gap, is that she is. It's like saying, like, for like you, Austin, like, I really love Ryan Reynolds, and then like you meet someone who just has the same vibe as him, and then he's like, "My name's Ryan Reynolds," and you're like, "Oh my gosh, you can't be saying that." And then he starts quoting like things from Ryan Reynolds accidentally, and you're like, you can't say that. Like, you get what I'm saying, Austin. You like Ryan Reynolds, right? You're married.
Yeah, no, I kind of get what it was. I got confused there because it was like, wait, he's the same guy. But I must have not picked up that it was a movie star. I thought it was like, so like maybe, I don't know. I thought my storyline would have been cooler, but it was like, he was like some type of blogger online that was like saying all these romantic things, and like he was saying that,
I don't know
and
where
then
you
she
got
like
that.
followed him. I don't know, like that's what came in my head because I didn't know about that. I must
Yeah,
have, like,
no, they-
just missed what
yeah,
she
you-
said. Like, what she
It
was
happens
saying.
in the first episode, and it's she talks about it very passively around things, but in her room, whenever she's changing her clothes, and like Okarun's in the outside because he can't be transformed and everything in the room is from the actor, and he's a real life actor too. Like, he is a real actor from like the 1960s or 1940s or something like that.
That makes sense.
That's a very common thing in like animes to do, is to like actually reference real thing. I always think of like Takeshi. Everyone loves Takeshi to a degree. Everyone thinks he's crazy, but you know. Oh man. All right, Austin. Well, I have to ask, is there anything else you want to talk about with Dan to Dan?
No, I'm super stoked. I'm ready for season 2. I'm super excited. You know, it gives me another anime like that I'll rewatch. I thought it was great. There was a couple times when I did watch this that I had to like make sure that I paused it because the foster kid would come out and I'd be like, oh,
You can't look it.
you know.
Yeah.
I was like, some of it's okay with
Anytime there's an alien is basically where you think that. You're like, I gotta pause it
Yeah.
just to be sure.
Yep, that's when I was like, oh man, I
Like
can't
the episode where they're all in the classroom fighting, and then like it's like, man, it's so dumb how every time it's fan service, it's like the girls are always getting like hit up naked, and then Okarun just gets his clothes ripped off, and you're just like, oh, this one's for the ladies.
But then
And
that
then
episode,
I
they
just-
were like, "Oh, let's undress," and I was
Yeah,
like,
like every it's
it's
like, oh, there it goes. Now it's for everyone in between. The one thing I do like about that episode is the scene where like Okarun gets up and he's naked and he's trying to keep their attention. And he's like slowly creeping to the side. That's always hilarious to me because it just holds for way longer than it should. Like you're just sitting there like, okay, I get it. He's naked and he's shuffling to the side. Why are we still watching this right now? Like, come on. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Mhm.
All right, Austin. Well, I think that basically covers it for this episode of Bros and Shows.
Yeah.
Next week we're going to be watching, I think Castlevania Nocturnal Season 2 is out fully, right? They dropped it all at
Yes.
once. Nice.
is.
So next week, Austin, we'll be doing Castlevania Nocturnus Season 2. And I'm really excited for it because I just finished watching a marathon of a YouTube therapist I really enjoy break down multiple characters from season 1, so I'm just excited to dive back into the show. And
Yeah.
gosh, do I love that show, man. I was watching like the scenes from it and like the different action things. I'm just like, it's so beautiful, it's just so well done, like, oh. So I'm excited. All right, Austin, well, thank you so much for joining me on tonight's episode.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for joining in, and thank you all so much for stopping by.